Alright, this will be our very quick video because I've been sitting in this chair for almost an hour with this gorgeous man.
So we're going to talk about the games going into the week 1.
Day 1 and day 2 predictions.
Did you just interrupt me? I don't care. You don't get to... hello?
I'm just kidding.
No, you finish it now. You start.
I don't want to.
Okay,
You leave me alone. You made me mad.
Game,
I'm leaving.
Game 1 is going to be Cloud9 versus FlyQuest, and I think that it's pretty much... Again, I think that Cloud9... As we talked about in the power rankings, I think Cloud9, TSM, and Team Liquid are all head and shoulders above the rest of the league. I think that this is going to be, usually this is going to be our predictions if one of them aren't facing the other ones. So for the most part, I think that FlyQuest has a lot of strengths. I think their versatility in terms of their draft phase with the coach, like the abilities that Cop brings in the draft phase is going to be something that benefits this team a lot. But Cloud9, again, just is a better version of FlyQuest. They have a better coaching staff in general. They have better players. I mean, the only lane that I think they really even compete in, maybe, is middle. I mean, mid. Like, honestly.
I would say jungle.
Well, jungle is when they win.
Oh.
I was talking about lanes in general, though.
Oh, okay.
Like the mid, bot, and top. I think that for the most part, they just, like, they do have a better jungler, which I think is going to function. But again, that's only when, like, Svenskeren can compete with Santorin when it's a good day.
Yeah.
I do think it's possible. For the most part, I think that FlyQuest, they lose around the map. They're not as fast-paced as Cloud9 either. Cloud9 is a little too fast-paced for them to be able to compete. So I think that's going to be something FlyQuest struggles with a lot. Cloud9 is pretty much winning. They have an incredible, like, Sneak and Zazel has drastically improved this year. And last split, they look like one of the best bot lane duos in the league. Licorice has been insanely decent. Like, he's been insanely good this
We were going to talk that, like, yeah. if he keeps playing the way he does and wins a couple titles, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day.
Well, there's no Hall of Fame, but...
If there's a Hall of Fame, even you would be in it, sadly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that... I think that Licorice is just going to decimate Viper. I don't think there's a very large difference between the two. And Niski and Pobelter are going to be competitive. I think it's a competitive mid lane. So all around, I think that Cloud9 is probably going to win this pretty handily.
I think we're going to win in the fastest game in history, 10 minutes in.
Okay, probably.
Okay, now it's sneaky. About 15. I think going into the match, FlyQuest are going to... This thing though, this is one of those matches that you predict going one way and then it happens in the other. I could see FlyQuest winning based on the fact that they have more to play for, but that doesn't really mean anything in terms of anything. So
anything in terms of anything.
I'm saying Cloud9 win this match so handily. It's just this is kind of a one-sided stomp, but overall these are basically day 1 and day 2 predictions.
We so anything could happen to be fair.
So and also these are best of ones, but usually this happened last split, and I very rarely got the Cloud9 ones wrong, and it's like those are like against weird teams. But I'm saying Cloud9 win against FlyQuest, and then that's pretty much it. There's not much really more I can say. He kind of took all the words out of my mouth. That's why I have a partner.
So this second game is going to be the biggest, probably one of the biggest games of the early season.
This is the match of the week right here.
This is a revival of the finals. It's going to be Team Liquid versus TSM.
You think Reggie's going to get his 100K back?
And honestly, I think that Team Liquid improved in different areas and decreased in others. I think that Bjergsen is still handily the better mid laner, and I think that with how he played at MSI, I think that Bjergsen is probably going to win this lane pretty handily. I think that Impact, with the way he played at MSI, at the very least, isn't going to be stomped as hard as he was during the regular season, but I still think this still goes in TSM's favor. And the bot lane is going to be... I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody can refute that the bot lane... Team Liquid has the best bot lane at NA at this point. Core JJ... I think that Team Liquid has the ability to win this game because, again, they have the ability to stall. If they can stall out to late game, I do think they win this. But that's going to be a big problem because TSM is the single fastest paced team in the league. In NA, so I think that's going to be something TSM... I mean, we saw Team Liquid struggle with that throughout the entire season. I think that's going to be something we see Team Liquid struggle with throughout this, like, in this early series, and I think...
It really depends, though, on who they're starting.
Well, again,
Grig or Katie.
I mean, I don't know if that's going to make a difference. I think Grig looked pretty good in the academy scene, so I think a secondary jungler will benefit them a lot. So I think that TSM... I think that Team Liquid's inability to have an early game... like, the early game pressure around the jungle... Like, I think his inability to do anything kind of noteworthy in the jungle is going to be the difference in the series. And on top of the fact that TSM's playstyle directly counters this Team Liquid's playstyle. So I think that TSM is actually going to take this game.
I think TSM will take this too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think that Team Liquid are going to be as strong as they were after they just come back from MSI. I think that looking at TSM, they're going to have more to prove in this game. They're going to want to show that they are a dominant team. They're going to want to show that they have improved since then. And I don't really think Team Liquid has shown any drastic improvements since the MSI. I think the MSI experience gave them a little bit more than what they got from North America. But they had a hard time with TSM in the finals too. So I think that in this random best of one that TSM did 2-0 Liquid actually during the regular split, I think that TSM can get this match early on. So? Yep. I think TSM's going to win this one. Bjergsen is going to clap Jensen. Right?
I respect that. All right, so the third game of the split, the third game of the day is going to be CLG versus 100 Thieves. And I think this one is kind of a toss-up for me because these are the two rosters that I think made the biggest improvements throughout the entire of the off-season. Or not the mid-season, off-season. Whatever you call it.
Ooh, this is hard. Because this is the game where you get, like, who is going to be... I think this will kind of show you who's going to be that playoff team, though. I think this is the game that'll show you is that, like, who's going to be either the higher seed or the lower seed. Because you have CLG who have Ruin, and Ruin's not better than Someday. You have Amazing, who is better than Wiggly. And I think the top side is going to decide the map. I think that Bang and Afro are going to perform exactly how they performed last split to a certain extent. Because Bang and Afro are pretty much just like a little bit better version of Sneaky and Zazel. That's kind of how I see it.
I wouldn't actually say that because I think Sneaky and Zazel looked better this split.
But I think Bang is just a better version of Sneaky.
He is. I mean, I think he is. But again, he didn't have enough time to show it. But Afro was not better than Zazel this split.
Not even close.
So I think that would be unfair to say. So I think that, again, I think that CLG has strengths in the top side that I think are going to cover up some of their weaknesses they had at the early season, but I don't think he's better than Someday.
I think CLG can win this match right now. Yeah, maybe next time around 100 Thieves wins it, but I think CLG can win this right now. I think
with the implementation of Amazing in the jungle, I think this early game pressure is going to show whether or not this 100 Thieves this 100 Thieves team works out, because again, we're going to see a completely different, like there's going to be completely different
style.
Communicate and like comms. There's going to be completely different people talking, completely different voices taking over the command.
I just think that Soligo was such a worse mid laner than Power of Evil, though.
I agree with that, but again, I think most of the difference is going to come in through the bot side, like Soligo not feeding too hard, because I think Power of Evil is probably going to take over the game if it gets too much of a lead, but I think that Amazing might be able to neutralize that, and if they can make it through that early game, which I think they're going to be able to, I think they're going to win this game because, again, CLG might have made the upgrade in top, but I still think it's worse than Someday. And I think that on top of the fact that Amazing might be able to make... I think that Amazing's impact on the game is going to be the difference maker in this series. Because I don't think... Again, like, Wiggly is just not impactful enough for this meta. So I think that's going to be what pushes them over the top for me, and I'm going to say 100 Thieves takes it.
I'm going to say CLG takes this one. The 100 Trash is not getting their first win. Next game is the two worst teams in the league, potentially.
There is a big toss-up for me who's the worst, but...
Oh, gosh.
I think this is very arguable.
I think, from just how the best of one format works, I'm going to say Clutch is going to get the win this time around. I do feel like the players they have will function better now that they've had a split to kind of get some type of synergy. I feel like OpTic will beat them the second time around, but I don't feel like OpTic are really going to show much. Like, they've never been a team to show like any weird flexes, any weird, like, you know, drafting upgrades. Their players play fairly the same. I feel like Clutch is going to have more to prove in this series and be willing to try a lot more things and make the more flashy plays, because OpTic play fairly slow.
OpTic, I mean, again, it depends on... when they have Dardoch in the roster, they play extremely fast, in my opinion.
Like, even if they play Meteos, I don't think it's going to be enough.
I mean, again, what you not enough for what?
I don't think it's going to be enough, because I feel like
these players are proven to the fact that they what does OpTic have to overcome?
The same thing can be said for Clutch. Like,
Clutch was substantially worse than OpTic last split.
It was by
a quite big margin. They had no strengths, whereas OpTic had quite a bit.
Like, OpTic have Crown and Meteos, which could be the deciding factor.
I mean, again, they have Crown and Meteos. That is a deciding factor.
Like, you have for Clutch, you have Huni, Diamante, and Cody's son.
When has Huni done anything?
So he doesn't count.
What has Cody Sun done ever?
Cody Sun is good.
Cody Sun is not good.
He's not as washed up as Pickle.
Okay, so what I'm saying is Cody Sun's not that good either. So they've literally have DeMonte relying on them at this point, and I don't think that's going to be... If Huni can bounce back, I think they take this pretty handily, because I think the difference is a secondary carry besides DeMonte to be able to take over this game. But at the end of the day, that's not what I'm seeing from this team. Again, I'm going to imagine that Huni bounces back, because I don't think he's going to be bad for too long. So I'm actually going to say that Clutch Gaming actually takes this, even though I think that OpTic is the more decisive
I can see OpTic winning this.
But I can see 100%, because if Clutch Gaming, if this is not a bounce back game from Huni, which I think it's going to be, because it's, like, again, Huni is not usually this bad. He's had a few slumps, but for the most part, I don't predict. I think this break in between the splits is going to be the difference, and I'm going to think that he bounces back to form, at the very least, slightly. So I'm going to say that Clutch Gaming takes this too.
I'll say Clutch Gaming only just this time around. We'll have to see how they improve, but I think the second time around, OpTic can take it. But I don't feel like OpTic really are eager to show much anymore. I don't feel like their players are really hungry for wins as much as anymore, beside the mid and jungle. So that's why I say Clutch. Last game is Golden Guardians versus Echo Fox.
I think that Golden Guardians is they are a pretty close to playoff caliber team. I think they have a really superstar player in what's his name? God, stupid Froggen. Okay, I think Froggen's a pretty close. At the very least, he's close to superstar level mid laner. Yeah. I think that the bot lane is a bit. I mean, again, that's the biggest problem for Golden Guardians. But again, Echo Fox has a pretty good. Like, I think that Echo Fox is going to be able to take over the game in the bot lane. I think that's going to be a big problem, because this bot lane has been struggling throughout the entirety of the season. I think maybe it's a large majority of the reason for that is because of Ole.
I'm going to say Golden Guardians.
Well, you should probably just say reasons and then pick.
I'll say Golden Guardians for several different reasons. I feel like they have the much substantially stronger mid laner. I feel like that Hanser on form could compete with Solo. I don't feel like Solo's improved so much to the point where it's overcome Hanser yet. Remember, Hanser at one point was a really decent North American top laner.
Hanser got soloed by Solo. I remember that watching. No, but for the most, like, again. Like, they have... I think that Golden Guardians... I mean, Echo Fox doesn't have a bad mid laner.
I think the jungle difference doesn't even matter at all in this game, because both junglers suck.
They both do suck. I mean, Rush can bounce back maybe, but Contracts, I don't believe in him.
I feel like Contracts will make things happen.
I don't think Contracts is a good player. I think he's had one good split, and that's pretty much it.
I feel like he can make things happen if he's worked on his synergy issues with his teammates.
Again, I think that... Again, Golden Guardians... But that can be said
about Rush, too.
The top lane is going to be a pretty... It's probably going to be a tank battle. I don't think much of the impact is going to be put on there, so the difference between them is not going to be... It's pretty minimal.
I think bot lane's going to go as fairly as we're thinking.
Well, I think it's going to go pretty substantially in Echo Fox's favor, but the problem is that even though I think Phoenix has played really well, I think that Froggen is the difference in this game. I think that he is such a good player that I think it's going to be enough for him to be able to push past these lower tier teams like Echo Fox, Clutch, OpTic, all these players.
I feel like what's his name? Golden Guardians just have the better cohesive macro.
Again, I mean, they have
Echo Fox does.
They have a way to play around the map. Again, midway through the season, they found tank tops, this kiteable bot lane, all of these things. It was like they tried to copy CLG halfway through.
And we see how that helped them.
And it did help them because they played it better. So all around, I think that...
I think Golden Guardians will win.
I'm going to say Golden Guardians too.
If Echo Fox win, I'm going to... And whoever gets the most right out of this day has to buy each other dinner. He used to owe me dinner from that G2...
One singular thing that was different.
He owes me dinner from that G2 series.
I'm not buying you nothing.
He says, like, you can't win at all because
he said, oh, my gut tells me so. I'm going to say
that. I was right about those Samsung times, too. It was crazy.
What Samsung?
The Samsung versus KT roasters.
If you predicted that the first season, you're just an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you predicted that when KT
played the best series ever against Rocks.
Yeah, again, and you predicted Samsung, you had...
I said 3-2.
You predicted Samsung after a really terrible showing in comparison to KT looking incredible in that series. Tell me how you predicted that.
I'm just a prediction. No. I'm Crumbs.
You literally just... No, you had no idea.
He's want to call me Crumbs. But, okay. What I was going to say is we'll do day 2. Actually, for this day specifically, we'll do day 2 predictions the next day because I want to see how these teams performed on day 1 to give an accurate day 2 reading. Then after that, we can kind of do day 1 and 2 together. Because I feel like day 1 is going to show a lot toward how your predictions are going to fare in game 2. And if Clutch, and the second day, Cloud9 is facing Clutch, and if they don't put Piglet in, Clutch is going to have no chance against Cloud9. Just saying.
I also would like to get him out of my house. That's also a reason why I want to get out of here.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it.
JTH Nightwing.
You're gonna do it. He's gonna do. He has to do the hand sign too. Like we have a cool.
Fist bump.
No.
Okay.
See you later.